Okay, hello guys. So, yeah, today I'm here to go ahead and talk about um, Tekken 7 fundamentals for beginners. Because basically, there are new people coming into Tekken 7 with the advent of technology nowadays and social media. Tekken is as popular as ever. And th Tekken is actually a very daunting game for newbies to get into because there's a lot to dive into once you actually get into the game. So we have five fundamentals. We have movement, we have spatial awareness, we have punishing, and we have mix-up, and then we have finally combos. Okay, so first off, we're gonna go ahead and talk about movement. Okay, so since Tekken is a three-dimensional fighting game, we're fighting on a three-dimensional plane. So you can move forwards, you can move backwards, and then you can move to the right or to the left. So yes, movement is very, very big here in Tekken because of course we have linear moves that can be sidestepped and can go into a punish, or basically yeah, you can go into a punish or start combos and stuff if you can go into sidestep. You can also go backdash and force people to whiff moves or basically have their moves miss and then do a punish. So basically, for movement, of course, each character actually also has special movement. Like for example, Paul has a crouch dash and a back sway. Mishima must have wave dashing, and so on and so forth. But yeah, pretty much all characters can sidestep and then dash, and they can jump, they can run, and they can backdash, they can sidewalk. So of course, when you start learning movement, you're gonna want to go ahead and try and get used to your character sidestepping and move dashing, and then of course you get into a little further and get a little bit advanced. You can try backdashing, and then do a simple cancel. There's a lot of ways you can do backdash cancels. You can go ahead and go back, back, down, back, and then back, which is the advanced way, or the really advanced way. Or you can go ahead and do a shortcut way, which I recommend for beginners. You go back, back, go into a side step, and then back, back again, and then just keep on doing that. Back, back, side step, and then you cancel the side step. See, you can actually do it kind of fast. Not as fast as the regular backdash though, but it's fast enough. So yeah, and from there, yeah, just basically learn your character's special movement if you have special movement. Learn the sidestep because sidestepping is really, really great for making your opponents whiff, and doing backdash if you really need to go ahead and get some space from your opponent. Okay, so that's it for the first part, and we'll go ahead and go to spatial awareness next. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and work on spatial awareness. So this is where your movement comes into play. So as you can see, this Heihachi is missing because of the space between. So if you're not aware of how far your moves can go, or the range of your moves, then you're gonna be whiffing a lot, which is something that we want to avoid. So this is what we call spatial awareness, or how aware of the space between you and your opponent you are. Okay? So basically, if you're aware of how long your range or how far your range goes for your moves, you can do a lot of things like whiff punishing. See, like that. If your opponent whiffs, you can go ahead and whiff punish them. By doing stuff like that, or you can go ahead and launch them. And a lot of things. And then also at the same time, if you're aware of how far you are, or the space between you and your opponent, you know how far you need to be just so you can go ahead and make sure you get a hit like that. See? So yeah. So make sure you learn the range of your character's moves, so that you can avoid whiffs or whiffing, and at the same time, yeah, so that you know how far you need to be in order for your moves to hit. Okay. Okay. So punishing. Let's say, for example, your opponent um, makes a mistake and does a move that's really slow, and you feel that you can make them pay for it. You see that on the left side? It's gonna say punish. So basically, this is when your opponent makes a mistake and you do a counter hit or a counter move to make them pay for that mistake. So yeah, punishes can be something as simple as a regular 1-2, like that. Or yeah, it can be a lot of things that basically correspond to frames, which is something very advanced. There's also something that we call while standing punishes, like that. It's something that your character does while they're standing. So this is when you block a low or you duck a high move and make them pay for it like that. While standing punishes can be something as like a while standing launcher, or just as simple as a while standing 4. Basically anything to make your opponent pay for, or basically, yeah, make them pay for allowing you to crouch. Okay. And then from there, after that, from while standing punishes, there's also whiff punishes, or basically when your opponent misses. So when they miss a move, yeah, they're gonna have recovery frames, which you can go ahead and punish like that. See? So there's a punish right there since they missed. And then that's a whiff punish. So if they miss, you can go ahead and use a move that you have, a quick move that you have to punish them. Okay. Okay, so for mix-ups, basically this is when you put your opponent in a situation where he has to guess what your next move is gonna be. So basically, what you can do for mix-ups is, for example, for Paul, I can go ahead and do a 1-4. So it's a high-low. And yeah, given enough time, your opponent, you do this, your opponent's gonna go ahead and end up ducking or crouching for that low to block it. Now, the mix-up here is, once you go ahead and do 1-4, next time you can go ahead and do something like 1 into a dead fist. So like, let's say for example you do a 1-4, then you do 1 and into a dead fist. So this could be any move where you're gonna go ahead and have your opponent guess. So best mix-ups always have lows into them, so that lows into them, and then stuff that can transition into mid, so that you can have your opponent guess what what your next move is gonna be. Other mix-ups can go ahead and have delay, like for example, Paul's back to 1. Like for example, like for this, yeah, he just goes ahead and does that. Some opponents go ahead and try to counter hit immediately after you do the 2. You can go ahead and do this, delay the 1, and then it's also going to counter hit into a launcher. So, for example, he blocks the 2, but then he tries to interrupt you, or he tries to go ahead and interrupt you. He tries to interrupt you or yeah, basically tries to interrupt you or tries to counter hit. You can go ahead and delay the 2 so that yeah, you can go ahead and punish him even more. So yeah, mix-ups can go ahead can be used in every situation where basically you're just trying to go ahead and make your opponent guess what your next move will be, so that you can go ahead and punch him for that. So basically, mix-ups and mind games are the same thing. Okay. And then next, okay, finally we're gonna go ahead and talk about combos. Now, combos is gonna be where you're gonna be taking damage from, or basically where you're gonna be taking damage from, or how you're gonna be dealing damage in bulk. So you don't necessarily have to go ahead and learn those complicated combos on YouTube where they instantly put the character to death. No, you can just go ahead and do simple combos, like for example, down forward 2. Yeah, something as simple as that. Just as long as you can go ahead and get guaranteed damage, that'll be fine. So combos and wall, or basically yeah, juggle combos and wall combos are something that you need to go ahead and learn for each character that you're gonna be using. You don't have to go ahead and go overboard to do complicated stuff like this. As long as you can just go ahead and as long as you can go ahead and deal some damage, it should be fine. Something as simple as that. So yeah, again, just go ahead and learn the 5 fundamentals. So it's movement, spatial awareness, mix-ups, punishing, and combos. Okay, thanks for listening and watching, and yeah, have a nice day.